Continuing on, though, with other important breaking news, as we said, Republicans are now claiming that the FBI and the DOJ have been weaponized, and it is time, my friends, it is time to defund the FBI. Marjorie Taylor Greene has capitalized on it. It's going all over social media. D'Souza is saying it and saying this is the Gestapo. Everybody is saying that it is time. Everybody on right-wing media is saying it is time for Americans to take up arms and defend themselves and their grand avatar of their Zeitgeist, of their bigotry, Donald Trump from Dark Brandon. And with that, pretty much as soon as Trump announced that he was being raided by the FBI, an FBI field office and officer were attacked. So, let's talk about it. In what was surely the result of outrageous threats of violence that has run on right-wing media outlets all week, which I just discussed, a man who planned to attack the FBI lost his life in Cincinnati today. Reporting from the New York Times as of today states, after a lengthy standoff, police officers shot and killed an armed man accused of trying to break into the FBI's Cincinnati offices on Thursday, officials in Ohio said. But the motive of the man remains largely unclear, but we'll get into that. Investigators are looking into whether the man has ties to extremist groups, including one that participated in the January 6th attack on the Capitol, according to two law enforcement officials familiar with the matter. The attacks in Cincinnati came a day after the FBI director told reporters that online threats against federal law enforcement were deplorable and dangerous, telling congressional members of Congress, members of the Republican Party, elected officials that they need to cut it out. The man, who officials said was wearing body armor, tried to break the entrance. The man, who officials said was wearing body armor, tried to breach the entrance to the visitor screening facility outside the FBI Cincinnati field office in the suburb of Kenwood around 9 a.m., said Tom Lindgren, an agency spokesman. He said an alarm was set off and agents responded. The chase eventually left the interstate and snaked around rural roads before coming to a stop near an Interstate 71 overpass close to the city of Wilmington, Ohio. Lieutenant Dennis said gunfire was exchanged. Roads were blocked off for several hours, but had reopened by the late afternoon. Lieutenant Dennis said law enforcement officers attempted to negotiate with the suspect during the hours-long standoff, and then tried to take him into custody with less than lethal tactics. Those efforts failed, he said, and officers fatally shot him after he raised his gun. Now, this was FBI. This was FBI offices attacked by a Trump supporter. Full stop. That's what happened, right? And according to the New York Times article we just essentially read, the motives were unclear. However, we have some tweets we need to go through. So let's go ahead and go over to that now. Make sure you can see this. All right, zoom in a bit. So the New York Times has identified the Ohio shooter suspect as Ricky Sheriff. There is a Truth Social account using the same name. On the same day the FBI executed a warrant on Mar-a-Lago, the account made a call to be ready for combat and kill the FBI on site. Zoom in. I hate that. There. People, this is it. I hope a call to arms comes from someone better qualified, but if not, this is your call to arms from me. Leave work tomorrow as soon as possible, as soon as the gun shop, Army, Navy store, pawn shops open. Get whatever you need to get ready for combat. We must not tolerate this one. They have been conditioning us to accept tyranny and think we are do anything for the last 2 years. The time we must respond with force. If you know of any protests or attacks, please post here. Are you proposing terrorism? Very important question. No, I am proposing war. Yes, he's proposing terrorism. Like this, the motives are fucking obvious, right? Be really ready to kill the enemy. And by enemy, he means you and me. Anybody that isn't a right winger. It's essentially he's calling out the FBI directly, but that's not where it stops. Okay, that's not where it stops. That's not where his rhetoric stops. The GOP right now are calling pretty much any Democrat and any liberal an enemy of the United States. And with that kind of rhetoric, this is the actions that we can expect to happen. Because what do you do with an evil person when the law fails? And that's the idea these people have. That is what these people think is happening. They're thinking that the law has failed, it is being turned against them, and that there's no way out. Well, some deranged lunatic that's hyped up on conspiracy theories posted by people like fucking D'Souza, Prager, Maya, who's another big one? Fucking Posbeck, right? Jackson Sozak. Members of Congress. They're going to think that they need to take the law into their own hands. This is after decades of saying that the Second Amendment solution is necessary. I am not one to promote this whole Civil War narrative. I'm not fucking Tim Pool, okay? I mean that in both senses. I hate the man, all right? I think he's a grifter. This is dead fucking serious shit. This is the kind of rhetoric that cannot be tolerated. And if we had a better system of government, the members of Congress promoting this fucking rhetoric would be censured and stripped of their post. Because it is raising the stakes to the point of possibly enraging lunatics, turning people against fellow Americans based on this grand conspiracy narrative that is just outright bullshit. He's basically calling for political violence, and political violence is terrorism. Now, there's more to be said about this, so we're going to continue on. Well, I thought I had a way through bulletproof glass, and I didn't. If you don't hear from me, it is true. I tried attacking the FBI, and it'll all mean either I was taken off the internet, the FBI got me, or they sent the regular cops while I was trying. He's being told by people to not engage in this stuff, having trouble getting information, but Viva Fee said Patriots are heading to Palm Beach, where Mar-a-Lago is. I recommend going, and being Florida, I think the feds won't break it up. If they do, kill them. This is the kind of groundwork that this rhetoric creates. It won't matter if we don't get violent. We see the courts and are unfair and unconstitutional. All that is left is force. So that's the kind of stuff that's being promoted across right-wing media right now. It is the natural consequence of setting up a group of people to believe that there is nothing left for them other than to take up arms and defend the country they love. And it's dangerous. And anybody engaged in it, I don't care who they are, I don't care what political side they belong to, they need to stop that. But it's especially bad when politicians, elected leaders, because they're leaders, engage in this level of rhetoric, and it should not be tolerated. Comment coming in from Nikki Adams here says, quote, "It's January 6th, chapter 2. Yes, it is. And with that, we need to go over to the recent Trump ad. It's not good, folks. And the ad is not good to make. It is a good ad. That makes sense. Like from a marketing perspective. It's not stopping. And as some people have said, some people have told me, some conservatives have told me, that the FBI raid has galvanized Republicans around Trump again. I don't know how much that is true.
We are a nation in decline. We are a failing nation.
And this ad, just to be clear, this was released right after he said he was raided. So they were building this. They knew this was going to happen. They knew it was going to happen, and they had this ad ready for maximum impact.
We are a nation that has the highest inflation in over 40 years, where the stock market just finished the worst first half of a year in more than 5 decades. We are a nation that has the highest energy cost in its history, and we are no longer energy independent or energy dominant, which we were just 2 short years ago.
Should be noted, inflation's going down, actually. We'll talk about it.
We are a nation that is begging Venezuela and Saudi Arabia for oil.
Good.
We are a nation that surrendered in Afghanistan, leaving behind dead soldiers and American citizens and $85 billion worth of the finest military equipment in the world.
Now, should be noted, one, Trump had that plan. He was going to go through with it if he won re-election. Two, yeah, that happened. And it's effective to bring it up.
We are a nation that allowed Russia to devastate a country, Ukraine, killing hundreds of thousands of people, and it will only get worse.
Meanwhile, Trump is saying that we shouldn't Trump allies are saying we shouldn't get involved in Russia or involved in that and give Ukraine any money or anything like that. So he's doing a freaking 180 on this.
We're a nation that has weaponized its law enforcement against the opposing political party like never before. We've never
Like I said, they had this ready.
seen anything like this. We're a nation that no longer has a free and fair press. Fake news is about all you get. We are a nation where free speech is no longer allowed, where crime is
Yeah, whatever here, buddy.
rampant like never before, where the economy has been collapsing, where more people died of COVID in 2021 than in 2020.
Okay, Delta, like, how is that anybody's fault? What the fuck?
We are a nation that is allowing
I take that back. It's partly your people's fault for saying to people to not get vaccinated. So take that up with your own party, dipshit.
Iran to build a massive nuclear weapon, and China to use the trillions and trillions of dollars it's taken from the United States to build a military to rival our own.
Some of that money you gave them.
We are a nation that over the past 2 years is no longer respected or listened to all around the world. And we are a nation that is hostile to liberty and freedom and faith.
Oh,
we are a nation whose economy...
To be clear, this is like another 4 minutes of this.
economy is floundering, whose stores are not stocked, whose deliveries are not coming, and whose educational system is ranked at the bottom of every list.
Nikki, are you referring to the fact that this might be a Jan 6 tent?
We are a nation that in many ways has become a joke. But soon we will have greatness again. It was hard-working patriots like you who built this country, and it is hard-working patriots like you who are going to save our country. There is no mountain we cannot climb. There is no summit we cannot reach. There is no challenge we cannot meet. There is no victory we cannot have. We will not bend. We will not break. We
Oh no.
will not yield. Ever, ever, ever. We will never give in. We will never give up. And we will never, ever back down. We will never let you down. As long as we are confident and united, the tyrants we are fighting do not stand even a little chance. Because we are Americans, and Americans kneel to God and God alone. And it is time to start talking about greatness for our country again.
And of course, Guilfoyle gets the, yeah, and you'll never let me down if you do those things. Right, yes. So they had that ad ready, 100% ready for the Trump. And so they knew that by refusing to honor those subpoenas, they were going to get raided. That's 100%. Like, they knew it. This ad was ready. This ad is very well produced. That's probably one of the best political ads I've seen in a long time. I mean, it's mostly bullshit, but that's not the point. The point is to use effective rhetoric in order to convince people that are already almost there that you're correct. And the imagery, fantastic. The cadence, very good for persuasion. And it really, really, really sucks. Really sucks that the liberals and lefties don't engage in this kind of superb messaging. That a lot of liberals and leftists want to rely on the fact that they are correct to convince people that they are right. But that's not how people operate. It's all vibes, man. It's all vibes. People vote on how they feel, and if something feels true, it is. That's how you win political messaging. So if you think that ad isn't going to be effective, you're wrong. 100%, full stop, absolutely wrong. So we need people to combat these kind of narratives. And if you're a Democrat, liberal, leftist, or whatever, you need to get your politicians on board doing that. Because you can't rely on the fact that you're correct to be right.